Good evening. The United States is at war with Iraq tonight.
I heard him just run to the TV and turn on the news, and he said it started. And it was just like somebody doubled up their fist and hit me right smack in the stomach.
Let's go, USA!
We're behind you all the way!
We miss him very much and we want him to come back alive. We're praying for him.
January 16th, 1991. Cruise missiles and bombers began raining on targets in Iraq as Operation Desert Shield became Operation Desert Storm. The goal: force Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein and his military from Kuwait and liberate the nation. The news left many in the capital region overcome with emotion.
Tonight, as our forces fight, they and their families are in our prayers.
Time seemed to stop at Charlie Weaver's restaurant, right across the street from our Manan studio. All eyes glued to the TV as President George H.W. Bush addressed the nation. Some headed home, while others gathered their thoughts.
I just kind of had a feeling of unreality, like this can't really be happening. This is not real.
I have a lot of friends over there right now. I'm worried about them, but I agree with what he said, that now is the time to stop Hussein rather than later.
I just hope that we can get rid of Saddam and have all our boys come home.
The president of Siena College learned of the strike just before a basketball game. While a tough decision, he felt it was important to keep things as normal as possible.
The rhythms of life have to go on. The eating and drinking, the normal business of life, and even a basketball game.
Nervous Capital Region families grappled with the fact their loved ones were fighting.
It was the perfect temperature, it was perfect everything for an airstrike. And in my gut, I watched the clock all day thinking what time it was over there.
And it was just like somebody doubled up their fist and hit me right smack in the stomach. I'm scared right down to my shoes.
Chief Meteorologist Bob Kovacic provided an Iraq forecast for all the families back home.
Weather is so important to war strategy and planning. You can see generally clear skies, quite a bit of clouds over Iraq, but they're not very thick clouds, and the weather not all that bad. No doubt military meteorologists telling the people over there that the weather looked good for any kind of invasion.
With internet a luxury that moved at a snail's pace, people turned to shortwave radio for instant updates.
Western reporters in Baghdad say the headquarters was damaged in the air raids.
Reporter Steve Scoville tuning in signals from across the globe.
Radio Moscow World Service presents News and Views.
Radio Moscow reports the highest state of alert on the border with Iraq.
Shortly after hostilities broke out last night, Jordan, between Iraq and Israel, began calling out its Army Reserve on standby, and they told all doctors not to leave the country. Switzerland, which would prefer to remain neutral in all of this, said that it was backing the UN resolution so that it would not appear to be taking the side of Iraq.
Radio France International is telling the world.
General Colin Powell has said that 80% of Iraqi targets were hit in the first hours of the military offensive.
And the mood on the African continent.
There's a lot of nail-biting going on in southern Africa. The big concern across the region is that a protracted war will certainly mean higher oil prices.
As the days and weeks dragged on, thoughts of brave men and women overseas were always close by.
Matt Harris, Russ Trumbull, Joe Healy, Eric Douglas.
The names of more than 50 military heroes from Fort Plain and Canajoharie were read at this basketball game. God Bless the USA then played over a loudspeaker as several in the crowd held back tears. In fact, support for the troops was found throughout the capital region, including Half Moon. Troy.
Rallies like this are taking place throughout the country today, and while they are recognized as support rallies, support for the troops, these rallies also serve to encourage the families of those troops.
In Albany. But not everyone showed the same support.
Cowards! Cowards!
Students at Troy High School staged a walkout after school officials refused to let a conscientious objector, someone who opposes military training or service due to moral or religious reasons, appear in class. Instead, they marched to RPI to hear him speak.
You are the first high school since the beginning of this war in the Middle East that has done a walkout. Congratulations!
Then there was this.
22-year-old Kevin Seal is a Navy airman aboard the USS Independence. In a show of support, his mother, Madeline, decorated the house with colorful yellow ribbons. Colorful, that is, till Wednesday morning when someone ripped apart her outdoor display.
I'll put more out there. If they do it again, I'll put more out there.
People were also mad over on Lark Street as vandals hit there, too, tossing ribbons into puddles and trash cans.
It was just disgusting to see it this morning, that everything would be taken.
The Watervliet Arsenal was even called on to make bombs for the war.
It was, can you kind of make an item that looks something like this, kind of a size of this? And of course, we need it immediately.
Unofficial word was that the bombs destroyed a key bunker, taking out top military leaders. That left some mixed feelings.
It's great to know that you contributed. On the other hand, it's a shame that the item is needed.
This Ballston Spa company supplied a lot of the computer software that soldiers used in the Persian Gulf. Employees on standby for tech support, but war secrets made it hard.
Unfortunately, they can't tell us what they're doing with the software because it is confidential, but they will call up with a question. They can't get this to work right, or they need to know how to do this procedure, and our tech support reps have been helping them. Being
able to communicate through computers was still a novelty. Stillwater Elementary School traded in tons of old Grand Union supermarket receipts for new computers. The students used them to make letters and valentines for the troops.
We miss him very much, and we want him to come back alive. We're praying for him.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
We miss you and we love you.
With no smartphones and few home video cameras, Town TV and Appliance recorded free video messages to be shipped to loved ones overseas.
I thought it would be a nice thing for both the families here and the troops that are over there risking their lives for us. I felt it was something that we wanted to do as a business.
Another novelty we now take for granted, email. Chris Bruner reports on this new mode of communication that left people in awe.
Father and daughter Bill and Kristen Anslow are writing letters to Second Lieutenant Patricia Anslow in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Sister Kristen is using a free electronic mail service offered by General Electric called Letters from Home.
And we just want her to know that we care and we miss her.
Hudson Valley Community College has made its computers available to college staff and students to send electronic mail to relatives in the Gulf. The advantage of sending electronic mail, of course, is one of speed. It can take as long as 10 days to get a regular old letter through, but this can go as quickly as just 2 days. The letter goes overseas electronically and is printed at that end for distribution. Carol Maloney's daughter Judith is with the 139th Air Evacuation Group out of the Stratton Air Guard Base.
Well, I have to tell her what's going on in our family and how the animals are doing and that we're all right and that we support her, which is what she asks for our support.
Dan McCarty of Greenfield Center doesn't have any relatives in the Gulf, but he does have a home computer, and he spent the weekend fielding calls from as far away as Louisiana and sending messages onto the Gulf.
I was emotionally drained after Saturday typing in these messages. Many of them brought tears to my eyes.
If you have access or own a home computer and a modem, you can get involved in Letters from Home.
Finally, after a very long 43 days, February ended with momentous news.
Good evening. The Persian Gulf War is all but over. The battle against Iraq will come to an end at midnight.
President Bush declared victory tonight in a dramatic address to the nation and to the world.
That led to tears of joy, a lot of happy reunions being held across the capital region. This group of flight nurses and med techs returned home to a huge welcome.
My knees are still shaking, but it's great to be back. This is the best country that there is in the world.
Meanwhile, it was hugs all around as Airman First Class Randy Kunker of Latham landed at the Albany airport after 7 months in Saudi Arabia. And we actually threw him for a loop.
I knew my family would be here, but not the news stations or anything.
That was a bit of a surprise.
Yes.
His family rented a limo, complete with champagne, to take him home.
Can't believe you guys did this.
If the aircraft went all the way in to, say, Daharan, then they'd have to refuel the aircraft on the deck there.
And these sixth graders at Shaker got a first-hand account of the war from their teacher, who was on active duty in Germany, supervising planes taking off for Saudi Arabia, both glad to finally meet each other.
Feels wonderful, really wonderful.
Sadly, not everyone would make it home. The military website GulfLink reports 147 U.S. soldiers died in battle, with another 145 non-battle deaths. One soldier was missing in action. Hundreds of others were hurt. Despite the ceasefire, the United States maintained a presence in eastern Turkey and northern Iraq for several months, soldiers delivering comfort and food to refugees. To see how News Channel 13 covered other past news events throughout the years, head to our News Channel 13 YouTube page and click on News Vault 13. For now, opening News Vault 13, I'm Rachel Teedy.